Welcome back to the channel. Okay. So here is the thing. 40 days of love. Today is day number 9. We are almost into the double digits of days. How's it going on your end? How's it going? For some of us, this has been a challenge. For some of us, we have not been challenged yet. But don't worry, you will have every opportunity to be challenged. And I think tomorrow will be a challenge for you. So if you're joining me, let me know where you're joining from. Chime in the chat. Just say, hey, I'm from so-and-so place. It's always good to know where people are chiming in from. It's always good to see new people. Some people are joining me. They joined me last year. Some people are just new this year. And we're excited to have you from any place that you are. Thankful that you're here. Thankful that you have chosen to invest into your marriage. For me, not being married, remember, I'm making an investment into other marriages that I might be able to reap in my marriage. I believe that God has marriage for me. This is not something I came up with in my mind. The Lord gave me a very sure word about my marriage. He didn't tell, let me see. The Lord didn't tell me a person specific that is my husband, but I know the character and personality of my husband, if that makes any sense. So, hey, y'all. Hey, from Alabama and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Nice to have you. Glad you're here. So we're going to review day 9. Hey, ma'am. Good to see you. Is it any warmer there? Close to Notre Dame. Really? The college, Miss Carla? Close to the college, Notre Dame? I'm not a big sporty person, but because of yes, I was there in November. Like I was staying, I don't even think I was a couple miles from the college in November. And I'll be coming back. Oh, very nice. Okay, so next time I come back, then I will let you know, and maybe we can meet for a brunch or lunch or something. Always good to meet subs when I'm able to. I was there in July, and I was there again in November. And I am almost positive that I can't say for sure, but I think I will be going back. Oh, -9. Oh, bless God. That is not praise the Lord. Y'all stay warm out there. All right, y'all. So thank you so much for joining me from wherever you're joining. Thank you so much for liking the videos, hearts, stars, thumbs ups, all the things, for sharing the videos. See, here's the thing that you have to think about. As I'm investing into your marriage, surely you could invest into somebody else's marriage by just sharing the video stream. Here's the thing. Some people don't know that this is a thing. They don't know that there's a way to dare to love your spouse, right? We call this the love dare, but this really is a dare for you to love. Love is a choice that we make every single day. Every single day. Some of us choose it. Some of us don't choose it, right? Some of us choose it and some of us don't choose it. The reason that people fall out of love with each other is because they didn't choose to love today. And what happens is, if I don't choose to love you today and that went okay, then I'm going to choose not to love you tomorrow. And perhaps because you got on my nerve last week, I'm not going to love you for 10 days straight. And the longer you go without choosing to love, the easier it is to fall out of love. Love is not a feeling. Love is a choice. I can feel a feeling loving someone. I mean, don't we all want the warm and fuzzies? Yes, we all do want the warm and fuzzies. I'm telling you, we do. However, there are certain... Miss Carla, will you send me an email? Just say, close to Notre Dame. I want to tell you something. And then if I don't remember to tell you now, I will forget later. I forget. Sorry. Okay. I'm my whole train of thought. Anywho. So it is easy to fall in and out of love with each other, right? You might do something I don't like, and I'll be like, I don't love you right now. But love is not based on a feeling. It's based on a choice. And I get a choice to make every single day. All right. Jumping back in, day number 9. Day 9. The dare was, think of a specific way you'd like to greet your spouse today. Okay, so this was a good one. I always like this one. Do it with a smile and with enthusiasm. Then determine to change your greeting to daily reflect more love for them. Did anybody do this one today? Now, remember, it didn't have to be all lovey-dovey, kissy-feely, huggy-touchy. It didn't have to be any of those things. If your spouse is used to coming home and you not being anywhere around and you just happen to be, waiting at the door for them to come in, that's different than what you normally would do. Or, if you're otherwise occupied with your children or with dinner prep or whatever the case is, and you pause that for a second and you acknowledge their entrance, that's something different. There is I haven't seen this couple in a very long time on Instagram, but it is a husband. I think he either works in law enforcement or security of some type. I don't even know what it is. I only saw them a couple times and it's been a long time now. And every time he comes home, the wife is there to meet him at the door. She takes his shoes off because they are a shoeless home. So they don't wear shoes in the house. She does this for him. Now, I'm not telling you to take your man's shoes off if that's not your desire, or he got bunion feet, or there's an odor among us. No, I'm not telling you that, but this is what she does. And then she helps him take off his uniform, just the parts that they'll show you on the thing, his jacket, and she hangs it up for him and that type of a thing. But I thought it was so endearing because then there was another video that they did where it showed him warming her car up on her way to work, or taking her car early in the morning to gas it up if she didn't have time to gas the car, and then making sure that she got in her car and got off to work before he went and did whatever it was that he was going to do. So I just like that. I like that reciprocal behavior towards one another, but I do realize that not everybody has that. And so it's totally fine. But our job or our dare for yesterday was to greet our spouse and to make that a daily thing. So tomorrow we do the same thing, or we do it, we greet them. The greeting may be different, but we greet them. Then the next day, and you do it so many days in a row that it becomes a habit. 21 days to form a new habit, right? And we still have 31 days left to go. So by the time this dare is over, you should have formed a new habit of at least greeting your spouse. That's day number 9. Thank you so much for those of you who did it. Okay. Day 10, this is an acceptance day, right? Remember, hey, ma'am, good to see you. Every day is one of those A words. Yesterday was an affection day. Today is an acceptance day. We have had attention was day number 3. Day 4 was attention day. Apology was day 5. So every day, once you do your Love Dare marriage evaluation, you're going to determine which day is one of those A words. Today is acceptance. Love is unconditional. If you're following me in the book, this is page 46. Again, I'll just read some highlighted points and then I will expound on some of these. Love is unconditional. God demonstrates his own love towards us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. That's Romans 5 verse 8. Love is a choice that we get to make every day. I wrote that in my book. I just put a little note there. I get to make the choice whether I'm going to love you based on nothing solely than my own choices. It has nothing to do with the person. Unconditional means it's not subject to condition, right? What are the conditions that you will love me? Well, I'll love you if you cook. I love you if you clean. I love you if you take care of the kids. I love you if you we have intimate relations 4 times a week. I love you if you bring home all the money. I love you if we have all these conditions by which we will love people, but unconditional love says I love you just because. In the Bible, John 3:16 says, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever should believeth in him shall not perish but have eternal life. My loose paraphrase, go look it up. So we didn't have to do anything for him to give his son. He gave his greatest possession because he loved us. Romans 5:8 says, while we were yet sinners, before we even decided that he was the one we wanted to follow or the one we wanted to be in love with him, he still loved us anyway. He made a conscious choice and decision. I tell the story quite often. There's not any person I don't think that I would give my children for, not one person. But God gave his most precious and valuable thing he ever had, his son, for me. Wretched that I am, raggedy that I am. I'm raggedy on most days if I'm left up to my own devices. And that's the type of love that we need to have for our spouses. So when he starts talking, and I am assuming it's one of the Kendrick brothers who is writing this, he says, if someone were to ask you, why do you love your spouse? What would be your answer? Hey, Purple Rain. Hey, ma'am. What would be your answer? Why do you love your spouse? I remember this very clearly like it was yesterday, because some things just stay in your mind. Not that we dwell on them for any particular reason. You just don't forget certain things. And we were in counseling. I was married at the time. My ex-husband and I were in counseling. And this was towards the end for me. I was just done. This is about 18 years in. And I don't see nothing changing around here. So I know what's getting ready to change. I know. And we were in counseling, and the counselor said, what do you love most about your wife? And the answer was, my wife is a good cook. So if I stop cooking good, do you stop loving? If I stop doing this, do you stop loving me? I remember I had tried online dating several different times over the past years. My most recent try was about 2 years ago. It might even be a little bit longer than that now. About 2 years ago. And I don't plan to try it again. God did not give me the release to do it again. I think that was my final try. If I don't find him regularly, it just won't be found. But I remember meeting someone online. We just met via computer in the emails. It wasn't even, just how do you chat on those things, right? I sent a chat. Well, they sent a chat. I sent a chat. They sent a chat. And that was it. And then eventually we exchanged phone numbers. So that person was just telling me that if for some reason their spouse was not able to satisfy them intimately, they were going to leave them. It was non-negotiable. If you don't satisfy me in this way, I'm leaving. And so then that brought up, premarital relations. I don't believe in that at all. So the question was, so if, say, the person agrees to no physical intimacy, they get it, right? They know you have a conviction for the Lord. They agree to that. What about 90 days before the wedding? Would you try it out? I said, are we moving the wedding day up by 90 days? Because we can move it up by 90 days, but there will be no trying. I am not a car. There will be no, let's drive it off the lot and see how it rolls. Not over here. I said, well, what if, because then I brought back, well, what if you get into some type of a accident or something, and nothing below the waistline works anymore? What then? And they were very adamant. I'm divorcing my wife. I'm divorcing her, because I will not have her be with me if I'm unable to perform. And I got to thinking, there's something wrong with this. And this was a very grown man. This was a grown man. I'm 40. What was I back then? I was about 45, I guess. And they were a little bit older than I was. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure exactly what is going on out here, but some people got a lot happening. Whatever it is, it's not for me. I said, but what if they choose to stay with you? They was like, no, I'm divorcing. Period. That's just it. I'm not even doing it. I'm like, I'm confusion, but that's okay. You can have your own thought process about whatever you want. You got to live with your choices. I have to live with my choices. But the thing that most people don't know is, if that's the only reason that you love me, then perhaps you never loved me, because something could happen. Something could come up. We're talking about the God kind of love. When you marry somebody, You say all the things in good and bad and sick and health and rich and poor. I saw that one TikTok where the guy was like, and obey, and the woman was like, I'm not saying that. We not. And they just kept right on moving past that whole thing. Now, you don't have to choose that vow if that's not the one you want. But I mean, sickness and health and good and bad and rich and poor and all the other things, right? I'm choosing to love you through all of that, because you could be temporarily disabled, temporarily. I know people, or have heard of stories of people that have babies, and as soon as the baby is born, the wife has a stroke, right? Or the husband, they've been married, they're doing very well. All of a sudden, he comes up with prostate cancer. Now there's ED issues. I want more than just an intimate relationship with a person. I want to love you in spite of you. I want to love you because I just love you. I love everything about you. I love your bunions. I love your bad body odor when you've been out there balling with your boys. I love when you ain't showered for a day or two. I love everything. I love when you make a bad decision. I still love you anyway. And it talks about in here the agape type of love. I mean, the God type of love is called agape love. And there's other types of love. You have filial love, which is friendship love. And I do want to marry my best friend, so I think we should be friends first. And then you have eros type of love, which is an intimate type of love. God knows we want to do all of those types of things. Yes, we do. Multiple times. However, if for some reason that is not our testimony, I don't want that to be the sum total of why I'm with you or why I leave you. Now, this is not to anybody. Again, I'll make throw this caveat in here. For anybody that is being hurt, anybody that is in danger, anybody that feels that your person is being, you are in harm's way. This is not what I'm talking about. You must find safety. Seek it now. Find your closest 1-800 number. Find your closest hospital. Find your closest law enforcement station. Get there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people who decide after years and years and years that I just don't like you. See, liking me has nothing to do with me loving you. There are days when I love people that I don't like. That's all I'm saying. There are some days that where you might have done something to hurt me that doesn't diminish the love I have for you. I love my children, even when they don't listen to what I tell them to do or godly counsel, or I've been calling them for 30 minutes to come in and help me do something. I still love them unconditionally. I would give my life for my children. Wouldn't that be the same for our spouses? But let them do one thing, and it's like, no, I'm done with all of this. Okay. He says on 46, if your reason for loving your spouse all have something to do with his or her qualities, and those same qualities suddenly or gradually disappear, your basis for love is over. So if it's because she's a good cook, because he's a good provider, that's great, and we need him to provide. But if it's for any reason other than you just chose love. Now listen, some of us have made poor choices in love. We have loved the wrong person for the wrong reasons. I told y'all I got married because that man knew my story and he did not care. He didn't bring it up. He didn't, put it in front of my face every 10 minutes. I did never have to hear about it ever again. He knew what I went through in my childhood and he didn't say anything else about it. And I thought there is nobody else that's going to love me with this story. And it was the wrong reason to get married. I loved my spouse like he was my heir, but he didn't love me that way. And so when I stopped being and doing all the things that I had done before, when I came to my right mind and stopped being walked over, again, he never touched me and put his hands on me or anything like that. But there were just some things that I just wasn't going to agree to anymore. Then he had an exit stage left, which is fine. But in my next season of marriage, what God has promised me and what I am praying for, I'm not leaving room for, I don't like you, so I'm divorcing you. No, I don't like you, which is fine. I may not like the decision you made. I may not like the choice you made. I may not like what you said, but I'm always going to love you. I'm choosing love every day. Honeymoon every day, every single day. But Shakema, you can't be on a honeymoon every day. Yes, you can if you choose to. Doesn't mean we have to spend money. Doesn't mean we have to go anywhere. I am taking comfort. I am taking delight in who you are as a person, who you are as an addition to my life, who you are as the lover that I have asked for, as my provider, as my leader, as all of those types of things. I get to choose that. All right. Okay. Moving on. He says, when someone says I've fallen in love with you, it's filial or eros love. He says these are fickle and they can change depending upon the circumstances. Again, that man said clearly, if there was no compatibility in the bedroom, he was out. No matter what she gave up, sacrificed to be with him, if he did not get his needs met, he was out. Now, here's the thing. There's a whole lot of stuff other people willing to do that I just am not willing. I don't know about all that. I'm not going to tell you I have all the experiences in the world. So that last part might be a little challenging for us, but I'm willing to experiment with my spouse, but I'm not. I mean, there's some things I'm just not. It's not for me, right? So if I say this is not for me, and you like, well, I'm not in love with you anymore. Was you ever? Was you really ever? Was you really ever? I tell people this quite often. Now, thank you, Holy Spirit, for bringing it back to my mind, because the Lord will bring stuff to your mind. And again, this is not all about intimacy, but intimacy is a very, very important part of marriage. Men value it a little bit higher, I think, than most women. Not all men, not all women, but men tend to value it very, very highly, more than women do sometimes. So we have to be on board with that particular part of relationships. But I tell people quite often, if you can see yourself wiping that man's tail, marry him. Well, what do you mean, Shakema? Well, say he has an accident. He now has no activity of his limbs. And somebody got to take care of him. He doesn't want any home health, none of that. He don't want anybody in his house. He just wants you to do it. I know a lady, and her husband was much older than her. And he had some medical issues to the point where he had to be given a colostomy bag. Now, he did have, I'm sorry, y'all, allergies are bothering me a little bit. He did have home health services come in, but he would never let them tend to that portion of his body. Do you know, for 12 years, not 12 days, not 12 months, 12 years, his wife changed his colostomy. For 12 years, she took care of that man. When you can do that, marry that person. And I need to see you for a while before I just make a decision here, because I'm not sure. That's a decision to love. So are we deciding to love, or are we not? He says agape love is unselfish, unconditional, and it's unstoppable. It is based upon the choice and commitment, not your feelings. It also says that it is, he says the only way you, let me see. Anyway, the long and short of what he said was, it has nothing to do with the person being loved. It has to do with the person choosing to love. So if I'm loving you unconditionally, that's my choice. I'm not doing it because of anything you did towards me. I've just made this decision in my life. Okay. All right. 1 John 4:19 says, we love because he first loved us. All right. Unconditional love, agape love, will not be swayed by time or circumstance. At certain points in life, things gonna start dragging and sagging. Your body may not look like it did when you was 25. Situation and circumstances may have changed everything about who you are now versus who you were then. And agape love says, I still love you anyway, through all of that. Where do we want to be? Do we want to be a part of that? Or are we putting conditions and stipulations on our love? So your dare for day 10, which is tomorrow. This is a fun one, y'all. And I want y'all to have a good time with it. Okay? Yes, you do. Yes and amen. Do something out of the ordinary today for your spouse. Something that proves to you and to them. Look how it puts you there first. This is going to prove to you and to them. They get to participate in it, but it's about you first. That your love is based on a choice and nothing else. Wash her car, clean the kitchen, buy his favorite dessert, fold the laundry. Demonstrate love to them for the sheer joy of being their partner in marriage. Now, I don't know what to do for my spouse. Listen to me. If you have communication with your spouse at all, they have said something multiple times that they would like, they wish, they desire, whatever the case might be. Go back in your memory bank and replay those conversations about that one thing they have said. They could have said multiple things. Okay, pick one. Boy, I really wish, I really wish I could watch the ball game. Ball game's coming on tonight at 9, and I know, I do the night duty, and I got to put the kids to bed. No, you don't. Not tonight. Tonight, I'm putting the kids to bed. Well, it's not that's my job. No. Tonight, you go watch the ball game. I got the kids. Something they have mentioned. I know Renee, my friend Renee, who did this with us last year. She said there was something that her husband had been mentioning he needed. Some kind of part. He did like, I think I'm telling the story right, restoration things or something he was hands-on doing, some type of a hands-on thing. And there was some type of part he needed. Couldn't find it, couldn't get it, whatever the case might be. So she did a little bit of research, went out and found the thing that he had been trying to get, and she gave it to him. And he was so impressed with that effort, that energy that she put forward. It's not about breaking the bank. It's not about spending all your money. It's not about hours and hours of preparation, but it is about doing something from your heart and doing something that lets the other person know he really does love me. Y'all, do you know what it would be like if somebody took my car to the car wash and really vacuumed it out? That would just, child, listen, child, okay. That would do something for me. That would do something for Shakema. So tomorrow's dare, I'm 30 minutes. I'm less than 30 minutes. Come on, somebody, hands in the air. If you're a true player, yes. Do something out of the ordinary, not something that you do every day. Well, I cook dinner. You do that every night. Something out of the ordinary. Absolutely, Miss Rose. Till death do we part. There's a friend of mine on here. His name is Mr. William. Well, he's my friend on Facebook. Mr. William, him and his wife are just getting into their golden years, their retirement years. They had raised kids and he worked a job, and I'm sure Miss Beverly worked a job, and they did all these things. And now he's been posting. They recently had a business, and that business is done, and they're really going into their retirement years. And he just posted I don't know if they were having just like a staycation, vacation, or some kind of cation. But he posted their dinner, and it was like candlelight and a little flower in the middle. And he talked about all the things that they had good to eat. And I just thought, come on through. These are people in their golden years who still find joy in compatibility and in partnership and camaraderie in their marriage. This is not, dang, we've been married for 50 years and I'm tired of looking at you. Listen. I remember when my grandmother got sick one time. This is my mom's mother, who has since passed away. My grandfather's passed away as well. But she had gotten sick one time and had to be put in the hospital. Her and my grandfather had been together for 50 years. They argued like cats and dogs. But when she was in the hospital, my grandfather sat in a very uncomfortable chair. And I think he sat there for hours and hours and hours. And he just held her hand. And he said, I've been with her for 50 years. Every argument in the world was not even enough to keep that man from sitting in that uncomfortable. My grandfather was in his 60s, some 70 odd, whatever. And he sat in that chair with my grandmother for hours and hours. That's love. That's unconditional. That's, I don't care about my comfort. I just need to be here for you. So tomorrow is something out of the ordinary. I'm trying to think, what did I do on that day? I don't have anything on here that I did. And I think probably because I was just dating at the time, I wasn't married. But there's something that your spouse has mentioned that you can go back into your memory bank and pull out, and you can do that for them. Just to say, I love you. Because it's gonna knock their socks off, right? Wow, 42 years of marriage. That is awesome. Miss Rose, I am praying for that. I'm praying. I'm praying. People like, Shakema, you already 47. I'll be 48 in February, and I'm still praying for 50 years, 50, 60. Give me 100 years, Jesus. Give me all the years. Because I had talked myself out of it. The older I got and the less married I was, I would tell God, I said, well, God, if you just give me 10 good years with somebody, in 10 years from now, I'll be 58 years old. I'll still be a relatively young woman. I want as many years as he will give me. 50 years. Give me 50 years with someone. Shakema, you'll be 98 years old. Praise God. The Lord had promised me 120. I want them all. Yes, I do. And just as old as we are, I still want him to be the king in my eyes. I want love to shine. I want to be that little emoji with them two little heart eyeballs. Every time I look at him. Every time I look at him, I want him to feel love. Every time. Okay, that's your challenge for tomorrow. Everybody got it? You're going to do it? Yes, you are. You're going to do it. And I have faith in you. That is day number 10. I do want to thank you all so much for joining me tonight. We will see you right back here tomorrow night for day 11. Recap day 10, prep day 11. That's how I'm able to do it. So far, so good. I don't think I have to be out any days. But if I do have to be out any days, then I will just, excuse me, show one of the videos I did last year because I did all 40 days. So anywho, thank you guys for joining me. You got this. You can do it. Tomorrow is day 10. We're in the double digits tomorrow, y'all. 30 more days to go. You got this. I love you, and we'll see you next time.